we learned the shir of Bezel, Vehine. The fish are mitzvahs nitna lanu. Since mitzvahs were given to us, like the slapshas mitzvahs gvura v'tzimtzum, through manifesting, revealing itself in the measure of gevura and tzimtzum, that ha'ara v'chol, the light of the Eibush should be concentrated into a finite act, so we should be able to do it, and we should be able to receive the light of it. Most mitzvahs have a very limited measure. The length of tzitzis is based goodlin is 12 thumbs. Now you can make 13 or 20 or 50,000, but they'll make a difference. It's not going to add anything to the mitzvah. The tefillin have to be 2 fingers by 2 fingers. More is not better. Umuraboy is dafka and dafka square. Now this umuraboy is dafka is a big kasher, because umuraboy is not an Indian in kamas. It's not square as opposed to 5 sides or 6 sides. As if it's a bigger mila. 4 lay seisef or lay sigira, not more or not less. And the Rebbe struggles with it in the ha'ara, and I really am not sure what the Rebbe is saying. But I think that one way of explaining it, not what says in the ha'ara, is the meruba means hagbola atzmis. Azoya nishtanish. The mitzvah was limited in this form, and it's slightly different is nothing. Dafka this way. Dafka this limited form is the keli for Ein Sof, so there's gevuris in being mamshach the Ein Sof. But I'm not sure. Va'alu of dal tfachem, alu has to be dal tfachem, but Yossi Shno, it says we try to make it things. Zayin tfachem. Va'asukkah zayin tfachem, a sukkah has to be a minimum of zayin tfachem, va'shefer tefach, has to be a tefach, va'mikveh memsad, v'chein b'karbonas, same is true of karbonas. Yesh lem shiyah mitzumtzum, they all have a contracted measure, lizman in what time, in other words, age of the animal, to make fasim b'nishanav, elam b'nishtayim, upanam v'chuli, sheep has to be within a year, a ram within 2 years, and an ox can be until 3. In other words, in the 3rd year, not to be young. Most karbonas were very young and tender. Just like most mitzvahs have a hagbola, and more than that hagbola is accomplishing nothing, right? Because the whole atmosphere in that hagbola, the same is true by tzedakah. And faket, by tzedakah, it's not only the pshat that nothing is added by giving more, you're not allowed to give more. Faket, something is added by giving more, but you're not allowed. And though tzedakah is one of the most important mitzvahs, the whole world stands upon it. The pasuk says, "Elam chesed yibon." The world exists on Yiddish kindness. Nevertheless, yesh la shir kotzav. It has a measurement which is fixed. If you want to do the mitzvah best, you give 20%, a fifth. Or my the benyan is v'chuli, and average is to give 10%, and so on. I saw letters from the Rebbe to somebody who asked him what he should do with an inheritance. He was a poor person. The Rebbe said, give a little bit more than 10%. Not to give b'diok ma'aseh, but he didn't have to give chemish, a little bit more than 10%. Says the Rebbe, this is called the kanyas, has to do with the world. And the diok is you're giving a limited chesed. Why are you giving a limited chesed? So, Pashat means you don't have to give more. But the vart is, in this limited chesed, you have a concentration, the whole atoms of the Eibishter, but the way it's contracted and limited into a finite act. Pirush, this means that chesed el kol hayem, that the kanyas of the Eibush, in other words, the gili, the kela means chesed, the revelation of the Eibush's kanyas is kol day, every day. Hamislavish, which reveals itself in the higher worlds and the lower worlds, happens, of course, idea serusit latata, through our giving tzedakah, so Hashem gives us back chesed milmaila. He meets with a tzedakah of a chesed, which is both the tzedakah chesed sheitim and the yadam zeh that people do with one another in this world. Well, the fisha elam, since the world is measured, limited and measured, that from the earth to the heaven is 500 years of walking, whatever that means. From heaven to the next, it also means 500 years of walking. Not just it's limited in Mokum, it's limited in Zman as well. It's only 6,000 years, the whole world. Therefore, Nitan Shiro Mida, the Eibush has a measurement and a limit and a measure. Gamkin, the mitzvah tzedakah to the mitzvah of tzedakah v'chesed, shebatei the mitzvah mitzvah the other mitzvahs, you're not allowed to give more than 5 or 10%. And giving more, mitzad the chiyuv of giving tzedakah is not going to add. Mitzad the oni, for sure it's going to add. But mitzad giving tzedakah, you're not allowed to give more, because Yiddishkeit comes into this world through gevuras, and in this gevura you have the whole atmos of the Eibishter. And the second half of the Gerz HaKedesh says what happens, however, when you did Averis. And then you have to have Takeh Chesed, Havaya, Tshuva, which is Bli Gevul, and that's going to be Chaste, Havaya. Why do we have Chesed Havaya? As opposed to Chesed Eilam, Kiloi Samnu, because we're not perfect at all. So we'll continue next time.